I've spent the past 23 years exclusively teaching adult beginners, over 50, to play complete, recognizable songs confidently. And out of 900 or so people I've taught, I've noticed 3 counterintuitive things they're doing that prevent their songs from sounding recognizable. So today I'm going to show you exactly what these are, why they're the problem, and how to fix them in your guitar playing so that your spouse can finally say, I know what you're playing. How do I know this works? Well, this week Michael learned Peaceful Easy Feeling. I got a peaceful, easy feeling. Andrew learned Fields of Athenry.
Lord, light a field of Athenry.
And Keith learned Somebody That I Used to Know.
You can get addicted to a certain kind of sadness.
Have a look at this picture. This is a kid learning to ride a bike using stabilizers. Now, the point of using stabilizers is that you don't have to be learning to balance. You can just concentrate on building the technique of pedaling, building the strength in your legs and the motion. And now have a look at this other picture of a bicycle. There's no stabilizers on this bike, but there's also no pedals on this bike either. And this is the opposite approach to learning. This kid isn't learning to build the strength or the movement or the motion with their use of pedals, an important skill that they do need. What this kid is learning first is literally just to balance on the bike. So there's 2 different worlds of learning to ride the bike. One of these represents learning to fret chords cleanly and change between them quickly. And the other one represents strumming rhythms smoothly. They're both absolutely fine approaches to learning, and they're both focused on fundamental stages that we absolutely need. But the problem is what happens when we go beyond that. Because everybody needs to be able to combine multiple skills at the same time. It's the moment of patting your head and rubbing your tummy. The reason why your songs are not sounding recognizable is because it's not in the right hand fretting the chords and changing between them. And it's not in the strumming of the different rhythms alone. It's in the integration, the coordination, and the synchronicity of doing the 2 things at the same time. So that's why you haven't cracked this before, and it's exactly where we're going to be focused on the entire time today. So reason 1 that your songs aren't recognizable is what I call the synchronicity gap, and it's to do with the coordination between your 2 hands. Have a listen to this and see if you can spot what's happening here. Did you spot it? The 2 hands are not integrated in sync with each other. Every time we come to a moment where we need to change the chords, and my chord changes are pretty fast, the rhythm is interrupted and it's stopping for a moment. There's a gap there to allow the chord change to happen. This hand, the fretting hand, is leading everything we do, and that's really the problem. Instead, we need to move over and lead what we're doing with our strumming hand to remove the synchronicity gap. This hand is going to be strumming and plowing through and playing all the time, continually, and this hand needs to change chords in those spaces. So the focal point has moved from this hand, and the limitation is the speed of chord changes, to this hand leading the charge, strumming continually, plowing through all the time, and this one has to get in time with it. That might mean we need to bring what we're doing down to the pace and the speed where we can sync the 2 hands up and get the chord change in. So without the synchronicity gap, we have this. And if you want the free chord sheet with a specific set of chords, I recommend that you learn first because they're easier to change between, so you can just concentrate on synchronizing your two hands and playing recognizable songs sooner. I've linked to them below. But if you're on a phone, watch this video first before you click on them and lose your place. Reason 2 that the songs you're playing are not recognizable is that you don't have the pulse of the music at the foundation of your playing. This is what it sounds like. Okay, it's not totally recognizable. We're doing the strums in the order we need them to be and in the direction we need them to be. But the problem is we did not have them placed on a consistent pulse, so the thing kind of fell apart. The rhythm collapses in on itself. Instead, we need to make sure that we have the number of the beats in the bar rolling along and that we're feeling them and marking them with our rhythm. So we start with the foundation that is our pulse. We start with counting it, but we also need to be feeling it. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to put our down strums on the numbers, on the beats, and we're going to put our up strums in between them on the ands. So let's do it. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now it holds together and it becomes recognizable. By the way, if you don't know me yet, I'm Ian O'Brien, your new friend from the guitar process. And it wasn't always like this. For me, growing up, no one in my family played an instrument or sang. I had zero musical talent. I was told I couldn't sing by my school music teacher, and I wasn't actually allowed to choose music as a subject, so I let a lot of time pass. And when I tried to learn the guitar as an adult, it took me over a year before I could play a complete recognizable song. I was trying a lot of different things and it was really frustrating. But everything changed for me when I stopped jumping around from one thing to another, what I call butterfly learning, and instead started approaching my guitar playing as a clear and structured process, what I call the guitar process. And that's what I'm drawing from today. Reason 3 for why your songs aren't recognizable, and this is the point where you might start to feel a little bit uncomfortable with this, and I certainly did, is that when we're playing a song on the guitar, we are playing only half of the complete picture. Of course, the other half of the picture of the music is the words and the melody. When people hear a song and they think of a song, they think of the entire picture of it, not just the guitar part by itself. So there's going to be a point in time when you're playing the guitar and you can play complete songs on the guitar, but you're feeling like they're not totally recognizable because you never open your mouth to sing. And I was there too. Likelihood, this is true for myself, true for loads of my students, that somebody once said when we were young, a music teacher or a choir master or something like that, once told us that we can't sing. And we stopped doing it in front of other people. We didn't want to be embarrassed anymore. Maybe you sing in the car along to music, maybe you sing in the shower, but when people are around, we don't do it. We don't think of ourselves as being able to sing. The term I hear a lot from my students initially is that they're a non-singer. But over the past 23 years, I've never come across any adults who can't learn to sing. It's just a fallacy, this idea of being tone deaf. It's not really a real thing. Everyone can learn. And so in order to do this, we start with two different things. We're going to separate it off. First is the rhythm of the words. We want to build the coordination to line up the syllables of our words with our strumming. This is something we do in the guitar process through a series of sequenced coordination stages. But the first part of this is really to find and line up the anchor of the very first syllable of the first word in your song, because it's not always on that first beat. So one example would be, I see, okay, that very first syllable, the I, is on our first beat. So if we're counting ourselves in 1, 2, 3, 4, our first drum on beat 1 is going to be accompanied by the first syllable of the first word. And to begin, we don't even have to think about the notes or the pitch or anything. We could literally just say them in order to build the coordination. We need that anchor point for everything to unfold and start to come together. So could be on the first, but it might not be. Let's have another example of a song. Someone told me long ago. Now that song, the first word, someone, the s, isn't on beat 1. And if we started strumming and singing at the same time, the thing would fall apart because it's not the right coordination for it. So we count in and listen and try to judge what beat our first syllable is on. 1, 2, 3, 4, so it doesn't really work there. So let's try again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Someone told. Okay, so I'm coming in on beat 2 there, and that's feeling kind of right. So now I'm going to try and stick it in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Someone told me. Yeah, I've pretty much got it. So we want to carefully listen to the song and be counting the beats and see if we can tell where is our first, not just the first word, but even smaller than that, just the first syllable. That's our anchor point to begin the coordination to play and sing. The other side of it is in terms of the tune and in terms of singing the pitch. Now, if you can hear the melody from listening to the recording of the song and just sing it, fantastic, but not everyone starts there. Most people in the beginning, they can't do that. So a foundation thing to do, just to develop your ability to hear a note and then reproduce that note and sing that note, just use the neck of the guitar, pick a random note somewhere in the middle of the neck of the guitar, because if it's too high, it's going to be out of range for any human. If it's too low, it might be out of range as well. So pick a note somewhere in the middle, and we're just going to try and sing it. If you can't jump on it immediately, don't worry, that's normal. Just let your voice go up and down to try and find that note while it's sounding, and you'll stumble across a kind of resonance. When you're on that note and it's sounding on the guitar and sounding in your voice, there's a resonance there. That's what we're listening for. Oh, it's there. So you might jump in totally wrong. Maybe I'll jump in too high. Not the same note. If you can't hear that, don't worry. Start letting your note go up and down and try and find it. And we just practice this a little bit every day when you pick up the guitar. Can you play a note? And find it. That's the fundamental skill that we need to begin singing and playing at the same time, which is really going to make your song recognizable. If you made it to here, you're one of my people. Let me know you did by typing the 3 magic letters CCR in the comments. And if you're between 50 and 80 years old and you want to finally get playing and singing complete, recognizable songs confidently, click the link below to find out more about working personally with me and how the guitar process works. And now you know how to get your songs to sound recognizable. You need to watch this video next, because I'll show you the top 5 exercises for frustrated beginner guitar players to get playing complete songs confidently.